Hi, I'm Molly from Wild Olive, and today I'm going to be showing you how to cut felt with Deep-Etch dies. These are some dies that I designed exclusively for Benzie design, and I'm just going to walk you through the process of starting out with the dies and things that you can make, like these cozy quilt blocks. So I'm going to show you how to work with these Deep-Etch dies from Benzie. They are ones that I designed. They are called Cozy Quilt Block dies, and each one has its own name. This one is the Jeanette Cozy Quilt Block set. These are the Sylvia Cozy Quilt Blocks, and these are the Molly's Cozy Quilt Blocks. They're named for my grandmas and my great-grandmother. So let me show you first of all, when you buy these, you can see they're in their packages and you can see how they come joined together. And for some of my other dies and other dies that Benzie sells, it's usually helpful. You're going to need to cut them apart a little bit. For my circles and scallops here, for example, I've cut all of the pieces apart because that's how they come like nested, and that wouldn't be ideal for cutting things out that way. I mean, there might be a reason why you would, but that's pretty rare. So setting those aside, these we're going to cut apart but leave some of them together. So similar shapes, because you're likely to cut multiples of the same color, especially ones like these, some of the triangles and things. I'm going to leave some of them together. Now, you could cut every single one of them apart, but I'm going to leave a bunch of mine joined together and be able to cut in groups. It'll just be a little bit easier. So let's work on that next. Let's see, little packaging. We're going to take this out of here. And they're attached to the backing card. And I have a little set of metal snips. These also came from Benzie. And I just like to cut close to the edge of a die, and I'm gonna keep all of this grouped together for now. You know, you can always cut them apart more later if you want to. All right, so now these 6 Dresden pieces are ready. I could run them through the die cutting machine and it'll cut 6 Dresden pieces all at one time. Now, down the road, again, I might say, well, actually, I don't really want to cut 6 of the same color all at one time. So I'm going to cut these apart, maybe into groups of 2, groups of 3, or even individual Dresden pieces. And that might be the way you want to go with it, but I'm going to start like this. Then what you see here, it leaves these little pointed nubbins on there, and I like to cut those off. Just be really careful. Make sure that your eyes are protected. It literally shot off in another direction. So I usually just get the nippers on there like that, and I close my eyes. Oh, didn't get it. Close my eyes. There, okay. Again, it shot off in another direction, so I just have to make sure that I find those and dispose of them. But this one also, you'll see, these are attached based on how they're manufactured. So this one is already going to be loose, so I can't keep these hexagons all together. So I'll just need to cut those off. Okay, so this is from the Molly's Cozy Quilt Block set, and I've finished cutting these apart as I have for, as I'm going to for now. I kept all of the diamonds together. The triangles, it made the most sense to cut the one apart because of how it was hanging off the side. So, and these pieces will all work really well together. I have hexagons, and they're all separate because it just made sense. The way that I think I'm going to use these will be in separate individual colors. I kept all my Dresdens together, and this circle goes with them to go in the middle. And then the orange peel shapes, they were in 2 groupings of 3, so I'm leaving those like that. And then I'm just going to start cutting apart all of the other dies, and then we'll start cutting out some pieces. I have my manual cutting machine close by, but before we get started on cutting these out, let me just show you how I am storing these pieces. They're all cut apart. This is the Jeanette set. Here is the Sylvia set, and there's the Molly set that we were cutting apart before. And I'm showing you this because it's really important, I think, with these die sets in particular, to keep them grouped together. I think that you should do that if you have pieces that all fit together with other types of dies, but this one is especially important because of how the pieces fit together. That's especially true with the smaller triangles in the other 2 sets. This is from Sylvia and this from Jeanette, and they are, you can see they're very close, but they aren't exactly the same size. So where pieces need to fit together, they wouldn't fit quite as well. So these are designed as like photo or scrapbooking storage containers, and they work perfect for this. You can see what's in there, and they snap closed. So now these are all organized, and let's get ready to start cutting some pieces. So what I'm using here is a Sizzix Big Shot, but any manual cutting machine will work. And what makes it manual is that you're not plugging it in. It just cranks the dies through. And for these dies, I'm using this kind of a platform, a thick platform, an extra, a thin platform, or a shim. This is one of the cutting pads, and that's going to be layered like that. There's other ways that you can layer these up as well if needed, but for these, this is what works well. So that's going to go there. And then there's another cutting piece that goes on top. So we need to prep some felt to go in here. And I'm going to make a Dresden first. And so I have some felt that I'm going to use. And if you just find a way to cut out a piece that will fit your block of dies, or, you know, maybe individual dies. Okay, so here's, I'm going to just trim around this. I leave a little bit of extra space. Set that aside. I'm just going to lay that on there. Let's bring this down a little bit. So this will cut all 6 of those Dresden pieces at one time. The center of this is going to need a little circle, so I have just a small piece of felt that I had, so I can run both of these through at the same time. So those are there. I could do other pieces too from other sets, as long as I'm, you know, paying attention to what I'm doing. And this can go either direction, but I'm just going to layer that on top and start pushing it through, and then you usually need to hold on to it and crank it through. It can take a little bit of effort, and sometimes it makes funny noises. If it's really resisting, you might need to adjust the thickness of the layers here. Is something that I have learned, although I have not cracked anything yet. I really started just using a die cutting machine when I started designing pieces, and it's been a lot of fun, so I'm glad that I jumped into using this. So now I have these, and you can also see that these mats will get a little bit of a curve to them, and that's just fine. They will still work for a very long time. And I have one that is very, very curved, but it has not cracked. Set those aside. I already have this orange piece cut. I'm gonna cut the rest of my Dresden pieces. And you'll see this can go back and forth. Just gonna hold it in there a little to get it started. I'm gonna go ahead and crank this through the other way. So there are those pieces. I have this 4-inch square of felt, and I cut this using the squares and scallops die set that I also made for Benzie, but you could cut it on your own with a ruler and a rotary cutter if you prefer. These just arrange in a circle, and you can glue these down or stitch these down. This is a little bit like doing a puzzle, and you want them to fit together right next to each other. But once you get them to fit, then it's all perfect. And then that covers the middle. You've got a little felt Dresden. Then you can combine this with other pieces or attach it to other elements, and it's about the fastest way you could ever make a little quilt block. All right, here's an example of another quilt block. This is using the Jeanette set and makes this beautiful 8-point star. And what I did with this is I cut out all of the pieces, and they are also sitting on a 4-inch square. You wouldn't need to put them onto that, but because each of these blocks are designed to fit on or within a 4-inch square, these ones are a little bit different because they're, often round shapes. But having that square as a guide, you really get everything fitting together nicely. And yeah, now they just have to be attached and made into a little felt quilt. I have added stitching to my Dresden block now, so you can see how it looks with that added. You can stitch this different ways as well, but I hope that you have enjoyed learning a little bit more about these Deep-Etch dies and how you can use them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.